Okay, everybody, we are back with a brand new Cabral Concept, episode 3372 of the show. We're going to go over the 8 main reasons for low drive, low ambition, low dopamine, and of course, what you can do about it to get back your mojo, get back your drive, your ambition. And we can all do that through, of course, science. I'm going to give you specific scientific references for each one of these. Then, of course, you can dive in at stephencabral.com/3372 if you'd like to further explore those studies. The first one is this. It's chronic stress. I talk about this all the time. I talked about it in the rain barrel effect. It's part of my de-stress protocol for helping people to heal. And that is because emotions, chronic stress, and our mindset overpower anything else we could do. So if you want to say, well, I don't know about this diet, I don't know about that diet, honestly, none of that probably matters if you are massively stressed. No supplement can overcome massive stress, tension, anxiety, and worry. Now, we use the rest of the de-stress protocol to overpower that part while also working on mindset, emotional-based trauma, and the stresses in your life. So you don't want to give up, of course. You need to step forward. You need to keep making progress, but don't look for like, oh, I'm just going to take B12 and everything will be fine. No, that never works. It's never the answer. Things are much deeper than that. We need to go deeper. Chronic stress completely zaps. It disrupts the actual dopamine signaling and reduces dopamine receptor sensitivity. So we feel like blah, we don't have the get up and go. And if you're unsure what dopamine is the reward. It's the ambition center of our brain. It's what drives us to want to do more in life. If that is short circuiting, you're just going to want to sit around and do nothing. You're not like, life is not worth living at that point. So we need to begin to downregulate chronic stress. Number 2 is this, inflammation. Inflammation is the catch-all. I mean, it really is, and it's been like that for like 20 years now. But nevertheless, it is true. So if you want to check out yesterday's show, I actually went over 6 main causes of inflammation that lead to brain fog and lots of other brain-based disease. Definitely check out that show because inflammation is also going to impair dopamine receptor function. And so if you're massively inflamed, kind of makes sense. You're not going to want to do more in life because your body's already dealing with what's going on right now. Number 3 is this, poor sleep. You can link a lot of dis-ease in the body back to poor sleep. Now, here's the thing I want to bring you is that a lot of people think that they can get by with 5 or 6 hours a night of sleep. I get it. I totally understand. I've been there myself in the past. The problem is this, it catches up with you and you begin to burn out. The type of burnout that you don't recover from a weekend of sleep or a week's vacation. I know what that's like. I've been there. Be careful, as they say, burning the candle at both ends. You need to get yourself a minimum of 7 hours of sleep a night. Now, ideally, you're tracking that. So it's not 7 hours in bed. It's actually 7 hours of sleep. That's the minimum. After that, they show once you start touching 6 hours a night of like sleep, blood sugar dysregulation, inflammation, and also a decrease in dopamine receptor sensitivity and synthesis. The body's ability to actually use phenylalanine to tyrosine to L-DOPA, the entire pathway becomes disrupted. Really important. Get that sleep. And again, I'm going to link up all of these for you at stephencabral.com/3372 should you like to go deeper. All right, this next one's a big one. It is lack of vitamin D. But I'll tell you this, it's really lack of sunlight as well. So you don't want to go outside and slather yourself with sunscreen. You also don't want to get a sunburn. But there is something to sunlight. So it's not just getting your vitamin D, because if you have sunscreen on, you're still getting the light, which is really important. And again, we're always saying no blue light, no blue light, no blue light. But no, yes, blue light essentially before noon. Like we want our blue light to wake up our circadian rhythm earlier in the morning, the better. But we also want that sun hitting the photoreceptors on our skin, in our eyes. We want that. We don't want to wear sunglasses all the time. Should you stare directly into the sun for 20 minutes at a time? Probably not. And probably not at high noon, right? That's probably not a good idea. But there's all sorts of different variations around that. Could you get safe sun between 8 and 10 in the morning? 4 and 6 at night? Yeah, absolutely, right? Really amazing time to get sun in the morning and a great time to start to watch the sun set at night. The best of all worlds. Now, get that vitamin D. That's going to help with the receptors as well. You can get that through nutritional supplements. You can get it through the sun, but get sunlight as well. That's going to help improve the dopamine synthesis as well. All right. The next one is a poor diet. But poor diet it's too vague, right? What do we mean by that? Believe it or not, dopamine is synthesized from tyrosine. I've shared that before. But tyrosine is not in all foods. So we talk about this in my practice. For people that are like super stressed, super high anxiety, they actually don't do the best on a higher protein, higher meat diet. A higher protein diet does work better though for someone who is more suppressed, depressed, someone who needs more tyrosine and get up and go. So remember, there is no one size fits all. There is a balanced diet. Nobody needs to eat 3 pounds of meat a day. I mean, again, if some is good, 3 pounds is not better. So we do need to step away from a lot of the, influencers that are saying that. That's going to get you in trouble in the long run. But certainly you need to get enough protein in order to produce enough dopamine, specifically coming from tyrosine itself. All right, number 6 is this: overuse of dopamine stimulating substances. Well, what might that be? Let's think about them right now. What do we typically have in a day? Might be overuse of caffeine, overuse of sugar, overuse of social media, and overuse of certain recreational drugs. So all of those can be very dangerous if we are constantly stimulating our nervous system, body, and brain. We need to step away from the phone, step away from the madness of work sometimes. Get outside in nature, take a walk, breathe, maybe listen to some binaural beats instead of the city-based noise. Take a 20-minute lie on a PMF mat or meditate. Go back to your breath. All of these things can reset that nervous system and take us out of perpetual fight or flight. All right, number 7 is this: heavy metals or environmental toxin exposure. We talked about this on yesterday's show. Definitely check that out. But there's something called dopamine transporters, enzymes, our neuron health. Well, things such as lead, mercury, aluminum, pesticides, all of these things can begin to actually destroy our neurons. So at the end of all of our neurons, there are these tentacle-looking things that literally almost looks like an octopus. And all of those can be degraded over time with heavy metal exposure. It can literally wear away the insulation on the nerves, on that axiom or that neuronal sheath that protects the nerves, can all begin to become broken down. So let's be careful of our pesticide, herbicide exposure. Let's be careful of all the heavy metals we might be exposed to. Let's do a heavy metal detox. Let's do functional medicine detox. Let's clean our body as much as we can of these substances. And then, of course, always try to eliminate by using air filters, water filters, and as much clean food, obviously, as we can get devoid of pesticides. All right, the last one is this: gut dysbiosis leading to low dopamine. This is an interesting one, but the research actually absolutely backs this up, because the gut microbiota help to produce dopamine precursors and modulate inflammation and neurotransmitter metabolism. So what I didn't mention here today is that dopamine and norepinephrine need their own checks and balances, just like everything else, right? So what's cortisol's check and balance at night? Melatonin. What's calcium's check? Magnesium. What's sodium's check? Potassium. What's copper's check? Zinc. Okay. Well, dopamine and norepinephrine, they get us fired up. They get us excited for the day. They are what wake us up hopefully in the morning and excited to accomplish something for the day. And if you don't have that, you may very well be low in them. Now, what are the antagonists to those that you may have been lacking that allowed you in previous years to simply burn out? Well, that's serotonin and GABA. Those are the inhibitory neurotransmitters. Because if you're running and going all the time, eventually you're going to crash. Well, a lot of those others, especially serotonin, is helped to be manufactured in the gut. We always need to make sure that there's a balance in our life. We can be a hard charger, we can be a high performer, we can work hard, but also we need to know when to cool the engines as well, to rejuvenate, to recoup, and to be able to fight again or work again another day. Hopefully today's show was helpful. I'm going to link up all the research at stephencabral.com/3372. If this was an interesting topic to you, you can search dopamine at stephencabral.com/podcast. You'll get plenty of other shows on dopamine. And if you're interested to see what your dopamine levels are, you can actually run your neurotransmitters, such as dopamine, norepinephrine, GABA, serotonin, and much more by running the Mind and Mood Neurotransmitter Test. That's at stephencabral.com/shop. That just takes you over to EqualLife. That's our functional medicine integrative health practice. Not only do you take the lab, simple urine-based test, complete it right at home, you get the data, and you also get a coaching call that can walk you through what all of the data means and an action plan as to what to do for your own health. That can be run ages 3 years old and up. Again, at stephencabral.com/shop. I can also link it up at stephencabral.com/3372 along with the research. Hopefully this was helpful, everybody. Have an amazing rest of the day. And of course, if it was helpful, do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it could serve. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.